I felt and saw this presence of something like a ghost.
As I was reaching for my keys, something growled at me coming out of the basement.
It was bad energy. I was sort of feeling like I was letting Satan out of hell.
I saw out of the corner of my eye what I thought was the girl falling off the roof.
I couldn't think. It was so loud and I was so terrified that I just froze.
I'm not calling for that. I'm calling because I'm freaking out here.
I felt this presence trying to push itself down on top of me very violently.
It would not go away. It was freaking me out. I look at my arm and it's got a scratch on it.
Welcome, everybody, to Ghost of Greystone. My name is Clete.
I'm Chris.
And we are those Keith brothers, and I can't thank you enough for being here. Number nine. What
are you doing?
It's our ninth episode, you know. No?
Here we go with the accents.
Okay. Well, I give it a shot. It's okay.
Don't.
Listen, I want to talk about what's going to happen tonight, which is really, I'm excited about tonight. We're back in the basement. Isn't that we have three episodes.
Is part 2 of 3.
Yeah, man.
I love the basement.
The basement, I love the basement, but I don't like the basement.
Yeah.
You'll find out in episode number 10 how much I don't like the basement. But tonight, it's going to be, we're going to have Touched, Chains, Lost and Found, and Apparitions.
Right.
You'll see what all that means in pretty soon. So thanks for joining us. And why don't we get it on?
Well, I was
going
to say that last episode, part 1 that we just talked about.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
Yeah, I know. It's
This
crazy.
one may top it.
Okay.
Don't know.
That's what I like to hear.
Basically, you know, you've heard and you've watched old films, and they always have this classic chain rattling. You know, it's kind of, it's so typical.
The old horror movies, you know, the Bela Lugosi and all this stuff. Yeah.
But we have a story coming up.
Well, we actually have 2 stories
That's
coming
right.
up. Okay, so I just want to,
Brooke is first.
Okay, so
who is Brooke?
Brooke worked. She was in episode number 2. She was the one in the grand hall that saw the girl in the white dress go across the door. So this was on my same interview day that I had her inside the mansion. We were standing in the grand hall at that time, and she said she had another story about when she was there with her boyfriend at that time, Brennan Knight, and what happened to her. And I'll just let her tell the story.
Okay, you got it.
And then while we're down here, I'll make mention to another time, so around the summertime, 1991. Now this was during the day. The park was open. The house was locked. It was me, Brennan, and another ranger, Barry and Brennan and me. We were inside the house. We were standing right here, and now all of a sudden we hear what's coming from that side. It sounds like chains that are banging against a gate, as if someone is trying to break free from these chains or trying to open up the gate. It startled all of us. I mean, we all heard it. It startled them enough as rangers to run over there to see what it was. And then I'm running with them, and Brennan's like, no, stay here, just in case we run into somebody, I have to fight somebody. And I said, no, I'm coming with you. And I just kind of followed behind them, but they took off running, and then they went down the hallway over there. And when they got there, nothing. It was just total silence. But I know the exact gate that they're talking about. That's the gate that leads down into the boiler room.
The basement.
And there was always a thick chain wrapped around
Still
it
is.
with a lock.
Still is.
Okay, so that was the chain that we heard. And it was if somebody was trying to break through it, and they ran and took off to just try to see if they could find somebody.
Did they go down to the basement?
They went down there.
And there was nobody there?
Nothing.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Straight out.
Yeah.
Is that chain that's on there? I think we have images of that somewhere. But is that the same chain?
Yeah, it's the same one.
The same one that they had almost 100 years ago.
Well, I'm guessing it's probably the same chain.
Pretty damn old.
Yeah.
Because it does look...
Yeah, it's beat up, and it has an old lock on it, and that's referenced in another story, I think, coming up in the next show. Or it could have been the last show, we don't know, about, I think it was Chad Nelson talking about that old chain. Remember he said...
I think it was a
Satan out of hell and all that stuff.
Show 8, I think it was.
Yeah, Satan out of hell. So that was him talking about that same chain that was there, and still is there, by the way, still today.
Right.
Yeah.
So Brooke, when she mentioned, did you get any of the others? Did you ever talk to any of the other rangers that ran toward that sound?
No. This was probably back in I'm guessing probably 89, 90s or something like that.
Okay.
So
she remembered Brennan and this other guy.
And this other guy, Barry. I never knew Barry. Brennan I only knew because of the show that we interviewed him.
Right.
So I don't know anything about that. But it's really, when you go down to that gate that's still there, and that chain is still there, it's really easy to shake that gate to hear that chain.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because it's kind of loose on there. They don't lock it really
tight.
But
it's easy to do, but there's no air down there. There's no wind or anything, so nothing would rattle it.
No. You've got to go
and
ahead.
That chain,
so what are you saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying the chain, I've been down there, the chain is very heavy.
Yeah.
I don't think you could blow enough air in there to move that damn thing.
No. And the way she's saying it was slamming against the thing, loud enough for them to be in the grand hall to hear it down. Now,
that's a long ways.
Think about that. Center of the grand hall, you have to go down the grand hall and then get into the servants' wing hallway by the kitchen.
All the way down the servants' wing.
All the way down, and then the stairwell.
That's a long ways.
That's a long way. So that must have been really loud. Yeah, that's.
We should have done an experiment with a chain to see how you.
That's a good idea.
How you can hear that. You know, I would get down there and rattle it, see if you could hear it in the grand hall.
It's a great idea. It's a great idea. We could do that. I'll have to find a way to get that.
I just would be curious because it seems like to me it would take a real hard, or that sound is coming. Remember how they're in the hallway and they don't know where it's coming from?
Right,
and they heard
the music or whatever, and they're going like, I don't know where this music's coming from.
But she was positive it was coming from that basement.
Well, and so was Brennan, and so was Barry, that they ran. Well, it's the only chain in the house.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
No, there's no other chains.
No.
Right. Not even on the front door or anything.
But like they said, and we'll move on. But like they said, they heard the chain and they ran toward it.
Right.
So it was that chain down on the gate.
Right. But Brooke isn't the only one that heard chains.
No. And I know. And poor Martin, you remember Martin, the day porter guy?
He doesn't want, he's so quiet. He doesn't want anything
to do his job and get through the day. And then suddenly something along the lines of what happened to Brooke happened to Martin. And he's going to tell you all about it.
Okay. Number 2.
Oh. My shift had ended. I think it was like around 1 p.m.
And let me straight out. There's a lot of radio static. It's because of his radio again.
Yeah.
Causing that interference. And I want
my cell phone, his radio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So as I turned off these hallways lights, I was walking this way, and the door was open. You know, there's a gate.
Right.
But the door was wide open.
We can go down there. You don't want to go down here, do you?
So it was wide open. And I was like, as I was walking out, I hit the first step up, and I hear the gate like being pushed in the back. It goes rattling.
This gate here?
Yes, the gate.
Okay, so let's do that. So the door was open, just like this, and then you show me what you heard.
And I heard it go like this. Yeah. I heard it just rattle back and forth. And I got scared, so I stopped for a minute, and I said to myself, man, it's dark. I was like, I couldn't find a picture, though. I'm still looking for it. I was like, man, it's so dark. And then I just flashed a picture, and I saw this orb, right here.
Okay, so what he says to me, and I think, is that it for him? Yeah, what he says to me is he saw this orb, and the reason I stopped that interview for this was that when he continued, he said he saw an orb in front of him down by the gate. I don't even think you know this.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, he saw this orb, and he got his phone out and took a photo. And I said, "You did?" He goes, "Yeah," and I got it in the photo. I said, "Can I have that photo?" He goes, "I think I deleted it."
Well, this is. Why wouldn't he keep it? But
he's just, it's not into
it's
the
not his thing, and this was way before you were even talking about stories and stuff, right? Or did it?
No, this is probably about 2018 when I did this interview.
Oh,
so it was relatively recent in essence at that time.
And he didn't think to keep it and give it to you.
No, no.
Shoot.
So, but that's pretty fascinating as well to hear the gate rattle and then go down there and then look around and then there's this orb that's floating in there and he takes out his phone. I mean, that's pretty cool.
He didn't want to go down there, right?
No.
Was he literally kind of just skittish?
He's scared, and I would be too. I mean, it's just like, remember, whenever he's working, he's usually alone at that time. He's not there anymore. He's usually alone in the house by himself. So they go, "Hey, we've got an event coming in today. We need the grand hall mopped
and
or dusted, and then get any cobwebs you see or whatever, and then go up by the front door and clean the window, all that. So there's a lot to do, and he's always in there by himself.
Yeah.
So it just scares him, and I would be too because he had some horrible things. So
What about Ranger Clark? Strange thing happened to him. You had?
Oh, several strange things have happened to Steve Clark down in the basement. And by the way, just as a reminder, Steve Clark and myself, when we were really into the ghost hunting investigation kind of thing, he and I were the ones who were into it the most. And we had times where we both had the same recorder. And you want to do this tonight? And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." So after our shift, we either go home and then come back, or we stayed if it was a late gig. And we would go down in that basement, all the lights out. He would sit at the far end of the hall. I would sit at the other end of the hall. And all you could see are the little red lights on a recorder. We're going like, woo, just trying to see if we caught anything.
And you wouldn't talk to each other?
No,
you just
sit there.
Did you ever?
No.
Isn't that weird? You could be talking to people and you get stuff like we've heard.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I don't either. But there was one time we were in that hallway, and we had our recorders, and we're just kind of investigating. We went into the boiler room, which is a nightmare, really scary. That was Brigitte last show. But so Steve and I went in there, and we're inside there, and we're by the boiler, which is so horrifying anyway. It's like a horror movie.
It feels like it when you're down there because it's pitch dark.
Yeah.
It's got all this metal and
right, old
furnace
cooler,
thing, and
all these creepy things,
right.
and we're standing in there, and we have our recorders and stuff like that, and I start to freak myself out. I start to think like I'm seeing some shadow or something. That happens.
You didn't tell me that.
Well, I know I didn't tell you, but why do I want to tell you that? So you can do this?
Because you're like a candy ass? I don't know.
That is so wrong, you little... Anyway, so I'm down there, and Steve's next to me, and I'm going... And I'm not saying anything, but it's starting to scare me. And I go... And now I think like something's coming at me. I go, "Oh," and Steve goes, "Whoa!" I go, "Nothing." He goes, "Why'd you do that?" I go, "I thought I saw something. You didn't see anything." You just get crazy. It's just the place gets you nuts.
See, real ghost hunters.
Right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Steve's event, okay, or his experience or encounter.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, this happened. I'm guessing, I don't know if he says it, but I'm guessing like early 2000s. It's when he first started working. I first started working with the city. And I remember being down at the gatehouse where my office was down there. And Steve was on the radio. And a panic call came over the radio. I think that'll help set that up.
Oh.
And let's see what he says.
Okay.
You cool?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Tell me that how you realized something was going on down below in the basement.
Well, the alarm went off, and the police called. That's how we did it. And again, back then, the alarm was pretty good back then. I mean, it was one window was open or something, it would register. It was much better than the alarm we have now. But gosh, that was probably 2002 anyway, 2001. So, they called, we looked on the thing, it said basement door, went down to the basement, and the wood door was open, but the gate was locked. And went down into the basement, and nothing else was open. None of the other windows or doors were open. And that's when the basement was full of shit. You could hardly walk down the I don't know if you remember the hallway, there was so much stuff down there. But down there at the end, outside the electrical room, that's when this crate had been opened up, and the pieces of marble, pieces of the fireplace, were laid out in front of the crate, actually unwrapped out of paper, and they were just sitting there on the floor.
But you'd never seen that before, that when you were in there?
No. The crates had been crated up. Somebody had opened it up.
Somebody?
Something.
Okay.
And that's when I called Brad. Brad came up, and Brad had just started here, I think, and I think you came up maybe.
Yeah.
And took him down there because, and showed him, and I think Brad was the one who figured out that was probably, the old fireplace.
I remember him saying, "We've been looking for that."
Yeah, possibly.
So he'd been looking for it to put it to replace the faux fireplace from another film that was here.
And that was put in for the bodyguard, the fake fireplace.
And then he goes down there and says, "We've been looking for this."
Yeah.
And
the weird thing then was, back then we didn't have 2A keys. We didn't have master keys like all the Rangers have. We checked the one key ring out, which is what we used to do. We'd go up, the key ring would be in the key box in the Ranger office. We'd check it out, and then we'd hang the keys on. So the whole thing was, there was only one key to that basement. Nobody else had a key to it.
That makes it even more mysterious.
Yeah.
Like, how could somebody get in there?
That was weird. And it just was one crate had been opened up, and there were probably about 6 pieces of marble laid out and actually unwrapped, and the paper was from the 60s, I think, because AFI disassembled the fireplace and packed it up. But we assumed that they stole the fireplace. We didn't know that they actually stored it.
When it was laid out, was it laid out as it should be, or just laid out in pieces?
Just laid out like a little row of pieces here, 2 or 3, and then a little row of 2 or 3 pieces, just, and the box top, crate top had been opened. So we could see that it had come out of this crate.
But you had been down there before to see that had not been laid out prior to that?
No. I think we would have noticed, because that's when we turned the electrical on for the house.
Okay.
So, and there was just a lot of stuff down there back then. So.
Well, so when you saw that, what did you correlate that with the window opening, or like?
No, I just started correlating with things are starting to happen here. Rumors are true. I don't know.
It was true, all right. A lot to unpack there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Because, first of all, the alarm going off, right? The original alarm going off that the police said, "Hey, so something was ajar, but you can't get into there without going through that gate." Now, there are other doors that on the outside of the property that you can go in, but all those doors are closed. You can't get into that gate without the key. And when he says check it out, you'd have to go to the top office. That's where their office was, up at the top parking lot. Get the key out, go down, unlock it, and then go inside.
Right.
And then when that person would be done, they would put it back up there. Well, it's locked, so he had to go up, get the key, go down, and get in the basement to see what was going on in there. So it doesn't make sense that could have taken place. And they couldn't have armed it properly if anything was ajar, any door was ajar, what have you. Now, do you have a question?
Well, I was just to talk about the the fireplace, the marble.
Yeah. That's what I was just going to say.
That's
sorry.
This is bizarre.
Yeah, here's how bizarre it really is. It was a wooden crate that these things were wrapped. These pieces were wrapped in newspaper and placed within this crate. We thought it was just another crate with junk in it, right? First of all, to open the crate, it was probably nailed shut. I don't recall, but it had to be nailed shut.
But you don't know.
I don't know, but I mean, you wouldn't put things in a crate and put the top on and not really seal it, I would think. Getting those pieces of marble, you should see the fireplace. You can if you go there. Heavy. How is that even how does that happen? How do you get that? Imagine the strength of something where we can't even lift it. It's that heavy.
Okay. The thing about the key and getting down there and all that, that's amazing. Steve said he never saw it. And then this one time he goes down there and it's all laid out.
Well, it wasn't laid out like as a fireplace.
Right.
But some of the pieces were laid out.
Were out of the box.
Yes.
With a newspaper.
Yes. But the point is that the gate was locked.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and the only reason that he found out about it was there was movement down there, and it triggered the alarm to the fire to the police department.
But he had been down there many times, probably, although he had just started.
Well, what he just said was that you have to go where this place was that open area down there that has at the far end has the workbench. That area, you have to go past that area to turn on the electrical back then in the early 2000s.
Right.
So you would pass that every day. Now he hears all this shaking or whatever, the alarm going off. He goes down in there and he goes down to that same location and these things are laid out on the ground. It's, I would say, almost impossible. If you see these pieces, they're really heavy marble pieces.
Yeah, I'd love to know the weight of them, but also there wouldn't be any other rangers or anybody doing this. There would be no point to it. First of all, they wouldn't do it for sure because they would lose their job unpacking things. I'm just saying.
I'm saying, yeah. Let's say it was another ranger. Where did he get the key?
Yeah,
because Steve went up to get the key to go into the basement to say, now I got to go in.
If it just happened. Now this could have happened a long time before that.
Well, he would have seen it going to turn on the day before, turn on the electricity. He would have seen it. And then why this time when there's movement or something down there that triggers the alarm, does he go down there and look and there it is?
Yeah.
It's, there's like I said, there's a lot to unpack there to go, well, maybe this, maybe that. But, and I remember our manager, Brad. Hey, Brad. Brad was, said he went up there and he said to me that they had been looking for that. They didn't know what happened to it.
Right. Which is bizarre because
remember it was a junkyard down there.
Right.
And so we thought that AFI had stolen it. It was taken out for the bodyguard, my bodyguard, the bodyguard with Whitney Houston. They put a fake. They didn't take it down and put it, but there was nothing there. They put a fake fireplace, their mantle.
Right.
And so AFI was there 69 to 82. And so they, I guess, took it down. I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Well, the film crews, they have to remove what they've put in, right? So they probably took that fake one down, and then it was just, there was nothing there, right? Did they take the original marble off, or that just wasn't?
No, that's what was laid out.
Understand, so, but what did they? So nothing was there.
I don't know. Yeah. Like Steve said, the faux, or I said the faux fireplace. He said, well, that was put in for the bodyguard,
right?
But the bodyguard was like in the 90s or something like that, wasn't it? Or
I don't know.
You would know. 2000s, whatever it was. So I don't know if that would time out because I don't think it was just empty there. There was probably something there, but I don't think they took the original fireplace away and then hacked it up.
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
No, it doesn't make any sense that they would remove it to shoot the film and put something else there.
No, so it was probably there was nothing there,
Right?
Or what have you?
They built something.
They built something,
and then they never found.
And we left it there. That was always there,
Right?
And then once we found the fireplace, the marble one, then we just took out the Whitney Houston one and put that in.
We'll check on that.
We had a crew come in to refurbish all the marble and clean it all up and put it back up, and it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
It's really beautiful. Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay, this one.
What's next?
This one's a little challenge.
Oh, okay.
It's the anonymous police officer. So being in that it's a police officer, I carry some weight in terms of believability, but
and isn't that interesting? Why? And I've heard this in other shows that I listen to. Police officer, a judge, a lawyer. You believe them more than you would somebody who works at 7-Eleven and walks in and there's...
That's true. It's our perception, but they're just people like senators and everybody else that's just getting through it, trying to do their best.
And some are not so great as senators, by the way. We're not going to go there.
No,
but
we are not.
Let's just say this.
Okay.
That I got to make sure I don't say his name.
I'll bleep it out.
Okay. But part of the thing was I heard about him through somebody else at the city, said you have to talk to him. We became friends. He's a really good guy, great guy. And so I said, can I interview you? And he said, yes, but anonymous police officer. I don't want my name in there. And remember, we have another guy that maybe book 2 if I ever do it. Don't know if I'm going to do that. But let's. I wanted to put him in this book. Mm-hmm. And it was going to be, I almost said his name. He's an assistant DA in a city, and he was a ranger at the time when he was with a female ranger, and they were on the second floor landing, walking down the staircase, and she took off. And
what do you mean?
She flew. She was shoved.
Oh.
He's with her, and suddenly he sees her, and she flies in the air down to the bottom of the staircase. Could have killed herself. He went down, grabbed her, and helps her out of the building, out of the mansion. And she went and filed a police report and wanted to quit that day. And then the guy who was her manager said, I don't have coverage. Being the good manager he was, hey, Bill. And I think 2 days later, then she got out. She left. She quit.
My God, that must have...
Could have killed her.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, okay, did you talk to him?
Well, here's the deal. What happened was he showed up one day with his kids. And we had always thought, Steve Clark, myself, Dan, we always thought it was like a ranger folklore. That this ranger flew down these stairs and oh my God, who knows that? Nobody knows that.
Because I even heard that story, but nobody could validate it.
Yeah. So one day this guy just shows up and with his kids. And Steve Clark's there and he goes, is there any way I could get inside and show my kids? He goes, we really don't do that. And he goes, I used to be a ranger. I was here a long time ago. I worked. In fact, I was with the girl that flew down the stairs and Steve's like, what? Yeah, she was next to me.
Now, this is when you were collecting stories, though. He knew that or not at that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right around that time.
Right. When
he
we did
showed
the book.
up. Yeah, it was might just be before that, and I said, "Oh my God, I got to get a hold of this guy." Mm-hmm. Once we tried to get a hold of him, he wouldn't talk about it. Right? Here's your lawyer and senator and whatever.
Well, I don't want to defend him because I'm not really a fan of lawyers and all that, but he has a reputation to hold. And, if people think that he's the one that saw a ghost or, his ranger was shoved down the stairs or something, they could look at him a little weird.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it why he did it. But my thing was, and I'd love to, I almost said his name, I would love to talk to him and do it as an anonymous.
Yeah, just like the police officer.
Yeah. And we won't use your voice or anything. In fact, we may be changing his voice unless he says, no, I'm fine with it, this police officer. So anyway, let's move forward.
Okay.
All right.
So I want to know, how did this come about with this police officer? How was he up at the mansion for this?
Well, there were several things. One was he had a fellow officer, I won't say his name, they were buddies, and I don't know if he says this or not, if I took it out, but this fellow officer knows that this officer that I'm going to be speaking with, with whom I will be speaking.
All right.
Okay, I had to get it right. That he has the gift. This officer is off the charts gifted. And when we finish this section, I want to talk about something he told me off the record that I think is really fascinating.
Okay.
To remind me of that.
Okay.
But so his fellow officer said, "Hey, I want to get this police officer up there because I know he has the gifts. I'm not going to tell him it's haunted. I just want to see how he reacts."
Oh, so he not a joke on him. He just wanted to see what.
Well, it was kind of a joke because that officer knew.
But
that
was new.
Who?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll bleep it.
I'm doing the best I can. You just throw it right out there.
Well, I'm not a liar, so I don't do well with that.
Wow, God, you're just at me today. What is that?
Well, it's all good.
Yeah, for you.
I forgot what I was saying.
Okay, good. That's a good thing. The bottom line was he wanted. I can't do this.
No, don't worry about it. Just say it.
He wanted this officer to come into the mansion, knowing it was haunted, to see how he would react.
Right.
Knowing he has the gift.
And this officer that we will be talking to.
Good. We got through it.
Had never been up there, or
no, had never been up there.
Oh,
so the other officer arranged Dan Hernandez,
the ranger,
Ranger Dan, Senior Ranger Dan, to give them, both of them, at the same time, a tour.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be talking about certain things about the tour. He has several stories in these episodes. This one,
do you want to just run it?
No, I want to say one thing.
Okay.
This one, what I wanted to do was, and because you had mentioned it to me, to get him down at the place where it was horrible for him. So
I mentioned that.
Yeah.
No, it's because you're a horrible person. You get these people in the area that frightens them so much.
If you want to comment below about if you want him off the show, just put it.
You could comment on YouTube, but you can't do it anywhere else.
Okay,
so.
whatever.
All right,
whatever. Anyway,
but comment on YouTube if you want.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
So, bottom line is, we got him. I got this officer, to come down with me into the basement, and he was breathing heavily. He feels everything. He's really
Let's listen to it.
Yeah, but I just want to say that he didn't want to go down there, but I thought in order to get him into the place where he was, I got him down there.
Get the information.
Get him. So, you came down here. We're down the basement. Came down here one night. I'm guessing with Steve Clark?
Yes. Is that what it was? And so you're walking down this main corridor down here in the basement, and tell me what happened to you. Okay. This is the second room. Okay.
Was almost what appeared to be a floating torso of a, I don't know, elderly man, or at least a man with white hair and a white jacket. No face, because he was facing the wall. All I saw was torso and facing the wall.
Okay, so he's turned away from you. Mm-hmm. And he was floating? Could you see his legs?
I could not see any legs. I might have missed them, or they might have been dark pants, as it was nighttime. Mm-hmm. But all that I really saw was the torso and the arms, and like I said, it was definitely a white jacket. It was not a white shirt. It was a white jacket, white hair, and that's based on the back of his head.
Okay.
So no face, no anything that I could see other than just that.
Okay, so you're walking here and you happen to look and see in the...
Well, I come in and I'm literally walking back, and Steve are a little bit ahead of me, and like I said, I just come back with a spoon.
Okay.
And so I'm like this, and I was like, and maybe a half second, because it picks up in my peripheral, and I was like, whoa. And as I look, gone.
But
so,
okay.
There was.
Okay, I'm sorry to do that to you, but what he acted out for me was, you walk down the long corridor inside the basement, and there are doors on your left. And he's walking, and he said he walked past the first door, kept walking past the second door, and glanced, and then came back to look inside, and that's where he saw this guy in the corner, faced away. Talk about a horror movie.
That's frightening.
Instead of somebody looking like this, you just see the back of this guy's head faced away. Let's continue because
he's with his partner, right? At that time.
Yes. And by the way, so that's Steve Clark giving a tour. Dan also gave a tour. So this is 2 different tours.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a person or thing there that was not there when I double checked and looked again.
Okay, split second, he's gone.
Yep.
And was he solid or see-through? Do you know?
He looked solid. He looked like a person.
Okay. And did you get any chills or anything?
Yeah, so as I'm coming here, I'm just walking by, and this whole area gives me the creeps. Like I said, based on the rooms and places in this house, it feels like someone's sitting on my chest.
So chills. Did you get any chills when you saw this from energy from him, or just from being frightened?
No, it's there's an energy in here. The minute I step foot, it's my skin's crawling. Specific spots will give me a lot more energy coming through. One of the big things, like I said, it just being down there and in the dark, and then finding it was like, even now, it's just my skin's crawling, and then as soon as I got here, like I could feel like everything start to like get there, and my eyes literally just focus in, and I was like, I could hear and that's when I looked back, and most of the stuff, a lot of the stuff was actually still here. Well, maybe different items, but it was a bunch of construction items, and that's what stood out, because it was another human being, and it was low light because it's nighttime. So that's one of the big things. And as soon as he was gone, so was that like goosebump feeling.
So you think that might have been the energy from him that gave that to you?
Yeah, and I don't know why he was there. I don't know what caused him to, basically take on a shape, other than maybe because I had a spoon. I don't know. I don't know if this was his room. I know nothing. I don't even know who that was. All I know is an older guy in a white coat. I don't know if the help wore white coats. I don't know if I have no idea. I don't know.
Okay. While I remember, he said something twice that you may not understand why he said it, or how he said it really quickly, so you may not have even caught it. But he used the word spoon.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
Right. So what happened to him was he was down in the basement. I think it was down in the basement, and he found this little spoon inside the basement. He went, oh my God, wow, that's pretty cool. And then let's go. Oh yeah, he put it in his pocket. He ended up going home with the spoon, and he tripped out.
Why?
Because he took something from Greystone. He thought there might be an attachment to the spoon. And like, oh my God, he's like, I got to get this back. He was really freaked out. And he ended up coming back to Greystone and put the spoon in there because he was so freaked out. So he says that, like you said, I don't know why that guy showed her. Maybe it was the spoon, that he had taken the spoon. The basement is frightening enough in the dark, but to walk down there and see a spirit without legs facing away in a white coat, and the white coat will come back again. We'll talk about that in, good Lord, episode.
That's okay.
The Wreck Wing.
We're
going to get into that, to the white coat again.
Well, what is it? You had mentioned that you heard bangs down there, loud bangs?
Yeah. So I thought I had left it in there, but we're down there, and we're talking, doing the interview, and we hear this boom. And he looks at me. Now, you hear him say, I'm already feeling the creeps of the energy
he's
in
not
here.
feeling well.
He's really gifted in that regard. And we hear this bang. Now, I don't know what it is. And he looks at me, I go, they're doing construction outside. And they were, but it didn't sound like it was outside. So he goes, oh. okay. We keep talking, and there's a bang in the basement. Now remember, he's gifted. When you're gifted, in my opinion, the spirits want to connect with you. They'll do whatever it takes to get your attention. Like Steve walking by the card room and these huge statues move toward him. We're down in the basement with a very gifted guy, and now there's a big back by the electrical panel there. And he stops, and he looks back at me.
The electrical panel where Mario?
Yeah.
Oh, last show.
Yeah, and he looks at me and goes, that sounded like it was down here. And I go, yeah. and it kind of freaked me out too, but then I felt bad for him that I brought him down there. Now this is happening. And when I first said, they're doing construction here, he goes, let's go with that. Because he didn't want me to give
Didn't want to even go there.
And then when he heard the next one, and he goes, that's down here. I go, yeah. And he goes, let's go. I go, okay, that's fair enough. I got what I needed, the interview, and he was...
Okay, well, we have a second section of the officer.
Oh, maybe I messed it up.
You may have.
Okay.
You go too far.
Well, you got to stop me. I get excited.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
I think the coolest part about this place is that nobody really shares the story. Like, they just kind of hold on to it. Like, I had no idea Steve actually saw coming down the stairs, which that would match. Because like I said, I didn't see the front. I have no idea there could be blue piping. All I saw was the back of a white coat and white hair.
So the coat was, if you can remember, was it like a really nice evening coat, or was it like maybe...
No, it looked like almost like kitchen staff, like that kitchen staffy kind of. It was tailored so it fit nice. Okay, seriously, that sounds like it's down here. It was tucked in the corner over here, and I just had my flashlight, and I was just, to be honest, I was looking for things, like not items, but apparitions, things like of that nature, like what I.
So we cut. You heard the boom. He goes, seriously, that sounds like it's down here. So.
I didn't even know that was on there.
Yeah, I didn't either. I forgot it was even on there. So, so I think we moved to another location.
Right.
Now, if we hear another one, then that's when he goes, let's get out of here. But I think we moved to another location because he might have gone outside.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We are definitely in a different location with this.
Yeah.
Spot something, see something, feel something, and because I get this feeling down here, not the dread feeling, just like I'm not alone. So even though you and I are here, it feels like there's something else here with us.
You feel that now?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And so I just was looking through, like, is there an item that would be attached that would keep someone here?
Had you had things happen outside? Yeah, sure.
Could we step outside and go, yeah, sure. And they, he was labored in his breathing. He really, man, and we did other interviews, he and I, together in the house. Whew.
Wow.
So are we done with him? Okay, so I want to tell you this story. And I'm sure he'd be fine with me telling this. I think he's good with this.
Well, nobody's going to know who he is, so.
Yeah, but if, okay, well, let's just
We'll take care of it.
Yeah. So I asked him, we went up to the grand entry to the door to leave at one point. And I said, so I have a question that's, a little bit different, not about here. He said, okay. I said, you're a police officer. You deal with death all the time. Has there ever been a point where, or is it always when you come across someone who has died or a suicide or an accident or something like that, that you feel a spirit? And he looked at me and said, yeah. He goes, he remembered a suicide that he was called to check. He went in and he said, and he felt this bad presence within that room. He goes, now I've gone into, I remember this now. I've gone into rooms where elderly people who are way late in their years and just in a natural passing, he said, nothing, fine. This suicide, I walked in there and it was like, he said I could barely even stand in the place. But I don't know if the other officers know he has the gift like that. So he has to deal with that on a daily basis.
He probably hasn't shared that with them.
Probably
well,
not.
But how did the other one that brought him to the mansion?
Well, he
must have known something.
Well, he said like it was his. He said his name, but he was very close. They were good friends.
Oh, okay.
And this officer is now no longer a police officer. He's a detective now.
Oh,
yeah, he moved up. So
oh wow.
But is that wild? Think about that, man. That to walk down there. Now, did this presence show up? And I say this all the time. Did this presence show up because he has the gift? Like Steve, the thing's moving. All these guys, Martin has the gift, rattling the chains. Did this spirit show up knowing that this police officer was on the location inside the basement and wanted to show himself to him?
I don't know.
Well, I know you don't. That's how you feel, but it seems to be a theme.
Yeah.
With a lot of these, when we have apparitions, lose.
Yeah.
Same
All right,
thing.
let's move on to the next one.
I can't get over that.
You're going on and on and on.
I know, but it's incredible.
All right, this the next one is a tour with a small group. You had and it was actually their father worked for the city, right?
Right. So, and I won't use his name just in case, but okay. So I don't think we've talked about this group yet. So I'm gonna have to set it up.
I don't believe so.
We have a couple stories with this group that's just wild. One really nuts.
Don't tip it.
I won't, because that's another chapter anyway, another episode. But here's the deal: this man from the city who is a friend got a hold of me and said, "Hey, my 2 daughters and their friends would like to have a tour at night. Would you be kind enough to do that?" And I said, "Okay, let me find a time." So I checked and see what day was open, found the day, and said, "Okay, have them meet me on the West Court, specific time, 8 o'clock. I wanted to make sure it was dark. They wanted it to be dark. I met them. Different, young, kind of cool.
Great
people.
I love them.
Yeah, great people. But
So
that night it was different.
It was different.
They showed up. I said, "Hey, nice to meet you." They're like, "Hi, nice to meet you." Now remember, they're showing up to a place that I want to go in. Then they get there and they go, "Do I want to go in?"
Right.
Because it's really
they wanted to be around ghosts and stuff until they walked in there, and then it was a different feeling.
Different gig. So, it was 2 girls, Sam and Alex, and then there was Ben and I think a Mark. And might have been even one more after that. But so. We have like 4 to 5 people is all. I take them in, start the tour, and I said to him, like I say to everybody at the beginning of a tour, I said, "Look, this is their place. This is not our place. And I know I may sound nuts, but total respect to these spirits. We go inside. If anybody gets touched, scratched, talked to, whatever, and you're really uncomfortable, you tell me. We don't run. We walk out." Because remember, I was doing this after hours, and I wanted to make sure I didn't, nobody got hurt. So they said, "Right, okay, great. Can we go?" We go inside.
Ready? Here we go.
Okay.
So we were standing in front of these panels right here, and I think you guys were all right there, and then Mark was about here, and my hair was down. And you were explaining, and my hair, like a chunk of it lifted and moved to the side. So I freaked out a little bit, and I just moved it back. And then I stood here, and then that same piece moved back over. And so I turned around and I looked at Mark, who I don't even think I've ever high-fived Mark. And he was far enough away, and his hands were just at his side. So I was like, okay. So then I flipped it back again, and then it happened one more time, and I just left it. Because I was not messing with it anymore, but it was just really delicate, lifted over and to the side.
Wow.
When I moved it back, it happened again. And there's no draft in here. There's nothing, so that was really freaky.
It's nuts that I was right over there then, and I had no idea that these things were flipping back and forth. And you, so after that happens to you, and you know it's not Mark,
Yeah.
What goes in your? What do you think?
Oh, I just didn't want to mess with anything. I just said, okay, you're here, cool.
So that's in your head. You're
yeah,
going
yeah.
Okay, if somebody's here.
It's here, yeah. And it wasn't. I was freaked out.
So prior to that, on the tour, were you a believer or not?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You knew there was something happening.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's why you handled it so well.
Sure.
You were like, yeah.
That's why I said I would never come back.
Here you are. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so at that time, did you tell Alex or anybody else?
Not until we left.
Okay, so let me unpack a couple things there. And one is, this interview that you're hearing is a year later. Now, and again, a theme that we've talked about before is these things were happening to this little group of people, and they didn't say anything to me.
Right.
And I told them, if something happens, you got to let me know. When these things started happening, and there'll be more that you'll hear it in other episodes, they just froze. They couldn't even tell it. They didn't tell each other, and they didn't tell me for sure until the next day. I get a call from her father, who says, "What the hell happened?" And I go, I had no clue. I go, what do you mean? On the tour. I said, what happened? I didn't know what happened. And he said, they didn't tell you what happened on the tour? And I said, no. He goes, oh my God, you got to talk to Alex and Sam. I said, okay. Well, at that time, I wasn't going to write a book. I said, well, someday I'll get a hold of them and talk and say, hey guys, what happened? When I decided I was going to write the book, I went, I got to find out what the hell happened. So we brought them back to the mansion. But like she said, I never wanted to come back. It freaked her out. And another fella, Ben, who was with her, freaked them out so much. They never wanted to come back. But I asked them, will you please come back?
Because he's evil.
Maybe.
For the book.
For the book. It's all about the audience. Okay. So anyway, now there's more.
That was in the electrical room where that took place. Is that correct?
Yeah. So down in the electrical room where they have the you throw the handles to turn on and off the electricity, and their fuse boxes and all that stuff. That's down in that room. That's where that happened. Now, if you recall, on episode 1, Grand Entry, there was a story about Christie. And Christie was standing at the Grand Entry.
Christie walked from Beverly Center 2.2 miles.
That's right.
In 104 degree weather.
She's a hardy little gal, aren't you? So, she was when I brought her in, she was standing. She's the one who went, "Oh my God, what's going on here?" But her hair moved to the side, and that freaked her out. The same thing happened. Remember the Australian family? The young girl, I'm acting out what was going on with Chan, saying a hand touched, and her hair moved to the side. So that's those two plus Sam. But subsequently, I gave another tour a while back, not too long back, but a while back. And as we were going down into the basement, remember this? Do you remember? We were going down into the basement with, it was like a group of 8.
Is this post-book?
No, this is like a month or so.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
August 19th.
Well, after the book. We were just doing. Yeah.
This is just recently.
Right.
Went down there, and I'm telling the story of Sam now. And I'm over by the panel saying, so I'm showing how these things are thrown, and as I'm doing that and saying, and this girl, I take this woman who's probably early 20s, has long hair, so I bring her over. I said, so Sam is standing here, I'm doing this, and I look over at Sam, and she's got this weird look, and now this girl's giving me a weird look as I'm talking to her. And I said, and her hair flipped over. And then I do this, and her hair flipped back. So I'm doing this with her, and she's smiling and everything. But once we get out of the basement, I see her talking to her girlfriend. I'm going like, what's going on, guys? She said, prior to me walking down in the basement, I'm waiting in the hallway, standing here, and something turned my hair and flipped it. And this is prior to my telling the stories down in the basement about Sam and Alex and how her hair flipped. So that's 4 times.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, that happened. This is somebody I don't even know. And she was kind of quiet as well. She didn't tell me.
Yeah.
She just stood there and I
Common theme.
Yeah. So when I looked at her and I did it with her, she had this look in his face like, he's doing what just happened to me out in the hallway. So that's pretty wild. That's pretty crazy. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Let's play the sound of the week.
Oh, we're there already.
We are there already.
Wow. Okay. And what is the sound of the week, by the way?
It is the triple.
Oh, it's a triple.
Yes.
And what location does it say?
Library.
Oh, okay.
The library triple.
Okay, so we did renovation of the library that's off the Grand Hall. And once, just like the theater renovation, once they started that renovation, I said to Dan, things are going to start happening. And things did start happening. And it's not even in here. But in any of these shows, because I didn't really interview these guys, but I talked to them, the guys working in there, and I literally have recordings of a sander starting. Did you know that?
No.
A
belt sander?
Yeah, no, not a belt, but a smaller one. Did you?
Oh yeah, the hand.
Dan, what is it called? Orbital. It goes. It's flopping around.
How do you know it's flopping around?
Because you can hear it go.
You had a recording in the.
I have a recording, several recordings. It's going like this, and I'm going like, what is that? It goes like this. It goes.
Wow.
I mean, so I knew stuff was going to happen. This, I put my recorder in. I'm sure I don't even know which one this is. Put my recorder in, and this is
Let's
what
play
happened.
it.
Let's play it, shall we?
That is so weird.
So those
now,
are,
this is in the library.
Inside the library room. So I put my recorder and said, this isn't like touch. Those are different sounds.
Okay, was that put in there when it was under construction, when it was done?
During construction.
Because you like to do that when the stuff is being unsettled.
Once they're moving things around, the spirits are like, don't mess with my place.
Let me hear it again.
Yeah.
It's
Is that
weird.
fantastic? And you know what's cool about it also? It's not like like maybe something. I don't know what that would
if
be.
something fell, it wouldn't do that anyway. It would be irregular.
Yeah. So,
but this is like boom, and then a long pause.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's what I love about that.
Do we know what time this was recorded?
Do you have anything there?
No, it doesn't say it on there.
All I can say is when I put my recorder in, it was at the end of day when everybody's out of the park and it's going to be night.
It's late.
It's late. So, but the fact that it goes, and then there's a long. It's not like something was leaning off one of their ladders or whatever. And
No.
This is like, Bob, can we one more time, and then I'll let you go.
Sure.
It sounds like it's on wood.
It sounds human.
That first one sounds like a knuckle on wood. That whole room is wood. So there's no marble floor inside, and it sounds like all wood.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they went with their with their knuckle,
right,
and then harder, and then another one.
Yeah.
God,
it's great. I'm gonna knuckle you if you don't stop talking.
Thank you.
We're at the end.
All right.
Thank you again for joining us. And if you would subscribe, ring the bell if you're on YouTube, or you can review, I think, on Spotify. anyway, we really appreciate you following us. And if you have any comments, you can put them in YouTube down below in comments. And then also, if you have anything that, especially if you have had an experience at Greystone, we want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Clete definitely wants to hear about that. Just leave it in the comments below. If you don't feel comfortable with that, get a hold of us at our website, ghostsofgreystone.com. You can email us directly at ghostsofgreystone.com.
And by the way, the next episode.
Well, part 3. Well, I was just going to say, and you can also order the book if you want the book.
Sorry.
From our website. We don't sell well. We're not salesmen, so whatever. But
I apologize. I ruined
broke
your
it
pitch.
right. I was right there, and then you went right over it.
My mistake.
And we just lost about 10 book sales right there.
I didn't know if we ever
maybe
had
one.
any. Maybe one, possibly.
Anyway, next episode, Basement Part 3.
Yes, Basement Part 3, and this one is probably the best of the 3.
Ooh.
And there are. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Please listen. Screams, knocks. We just heard some knocks. And apparitions. This is off the charts. It's amazing. It's a really cool. This will be a really cool episode. I'm looking forward to doing it. And
we're going to hear your only story. And the 22 years of working, we get to hear Clete's wonderful, strong, protective story.
Why did you set it up like that?
Oh, they're going to find out.
Listen.
He's embarrassed, and you can tell.
No.
Yes, you are.
What you hear may not be the truth. That's another thing I like to say. Sometimes you're the one who's always a skeptic. This is not true.
I'm not a skeptic because I have proof from the other person as to exactly what happened, and you'll find out anyway. Let's wrap it up.
Friggin' embarrassing. And just remember, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. Don't tune in next week. Please save me.
Thank you for joining us.
100 horses in 5 freight trains couldn't drag me into that early grave. I've cashed in the mistakes I've made while God rode shotgun from 1,000,000 miles away. I don't wake in sorrow, I don't walk in shame, I don't deal in hearsay, I don't dwell in blame. Sometimes it's best to forget what I know and what they say, but this ain't that time, and this ain't that day. Sorrow, I don't walk in shame, I don't deal in hearsay, I don't dwell in blame. Sometimes it's best to forget what I know and what they say, but this ain't that time, and this ain't that day. Riding till the trail grows cold, where the hillsides burn, amber and smoke. The sheep and the shepherd are lost on different roads, blinded by hate, blinded by hope.